Want your children to respect you? Try living this way from today. Have you ever sat in silence, looking at the child you once cradled in your arms, now grown, independent, and suddenly realized they no longer ask for your opinion? It stings, doesn't it? Not because you want to control their life, but because you used to be the one they turned to for guidance, the emotional anchor they relied on. Now, your words feel like whispers in the wind. Many parents in their 70s and 80s have sighed and said, "I don't need my children to support me financially. I don't expect a call every day. I just want my words to still mean something to them." We don't ask to be pampered. We simply long to be heard, to be respected, as the very people who once stayed up all night, worrying about their meals, their sleep, their future. If you've ever gone quiet at the dinner table because your advice was brushed aside, if you've ever felt your heart sink when they made decisions without asking you, know this: you are not alone. Change is a part of life, but respect is something you can still hold on to if you approach it the right way. No yelling, no arguments, just small shifts in how you carry yourself, and something beautiful can begin to happen. In today's video, we'll talk about 7 powerful things you can do to regain and maintain your children's respect, so you can live with peace, purpose, and feel truly valued again. The more you give in, the more you're overlooked. The more you sacrifice, the easier it is to be forgotten. Have you ever thought, if I stay quiet, they'll understand. If I give a little more, they'll appreciate me? But day after day, your silence becomes expected. Your sacrifice becomes invisible. As we age, we often believe pleasing our children is how we hold on to love. But when we live only to make them happy, we slowly lose our sense of self. When you always say yes, always offer help, even when you're tired or unwilling, eventually, they'll see it as normal. Gratitude fades. Entitlement grows. Mrs. Cara, a 78-year-old mother I once spoke to, shared her story. "My daughter visits and asks me to cook all her favorite dishes. My legs hurt, but I still do it, thinking it'll make her happy. But next time, she didn't even ask if I was well. She just said, 'Can you make that dish again, Mom?' I felt more like a maid than a mother." Respect doesn't come from doing everything they want. It comes from knowing when to say no. If you're tired, say so. If something feels too much, it's okay to decline, gently but clearly. When your children see that you value your time, energy, and feelings, that's when they'll start valuing you too. Earlier, we talked about how constantly pleasing your children can lead to being taken for granted. So what should we do instead? The answer is simple yet powerful. Speak your mind, but do it calmly and honestly. Respect doesn't come from silence. It comes from calm, honest expression. When you hold everything in, bottling up every frustration, it builds pressure. Eventually, it may come out as an explosion. And in that moment, your children may hear your anger, but not your message. Walter, a 75-year-old father from Texas, once shared his experience. His grown son had become distant, often curt during conversations. At first, Walter kept quiet, telling himself, "He's just busy. No need to say anything." But the more he stayed silent, the more disconnected they became. Then one quiet afternoon, Walter sat down with his son and gently said, "I feel like we've become distant. Is something bothering you?" No accusations, no anger, just concern. That one question opened the door to a real conversation. You see, sometimes, all it takes is for us to speak up, with a soft tone and an open heart. That moment can shift everything. Remember, speaking up doesn't mean being controlling. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. Calmness is the strongest voice we have as we age. And when you dare to express yourself gently, your children will start to listen. Not out of fear, but out of love and genuine respect. After learning to express yourself calmly, the next step to maintaining respect is this: don't let your happiness or sadness depend on whether your children call or not. It might sound a little sad at first, but it's actually one of the strongest things you can do. Many older parents find themselves waiting for a phone call, a visit, a sign that they're still needed. And when those calls don't come, their mood drops. But when they do, it feels like a gift. The problem is, if your emotions rise and fall based on your children's attention, you'll often feel disappointed and unintentionally make your children feel pressured. Instead of waiting, start coming back to yourself. Pick up that book you've been meaning to read. Take a walk in the park. Tend to your garden. Call an old friend for coffee. These small, simple acts open the door to a kind of joy that isn't tied to anyone else. When you show that you can live for yourself, your children will see. Mom is still strong. Dad is still independent. And that quiet strength earns more respect than words ever could. Don't worry if they don't call every day. When you live with peace and purpose, they'll want to call, not out of duty, but because your presence brings them comfort. Once you've learned to live for yourself, there's another truth to remember. Don't keep giving without knowing when to stop. If you give and no one appreciates it, maybe it's time to pause. Just because we give our all doesn't mean our children will automatically value it. In fact, the more you give without limits, the more they may take it for granted. I once knew a father named George, living in Texas. He spent his whole life helping his two sons, buying cars, paying tuition, stepping in financially every time they struggled. But when he was hospitalized for a mild heart issue, not one of them called to check in. He lay there quietly, asking himself, "Did I give too much?" George realized that endless generosity without appreciation becomes invisible. So he changed. He didn't cut his kids off, but instead said, "I'm happy to help, if you show me you truly need it and value it." When one son asked for money again, George calmly replied, "I'm here for you, but only if you've got a clear plan. I want to see you grow, not lean on me forever." Setting limits made his support more meaningful and helped his sons grow up. It also gave George back something vital, his dignity and sense of self-worth. So don't be afraid to say enough when you feel your kindness is going unnoticed. It's not selfish, it's self-respect. After years of raising children, many parents think, as long as my kids are happy, I can take the hit. But one day, you might realize, without boundaries, your voice, your feelings, and your needs start fading away. Children aren't always right, and parents have the right to speak up too. Love doesn't mean saying yes to everything. Sometimes our silence sends the wrong message that parents should always give in. Setting boundaries doesn't push your children away. It helps both sides understand where love ends and self-respect begins. For example, if your child calls you late at night for non-urgent help, gently say, "Sweetheart, I always want to help, but after 10 p.m., I need to rest. Let's talk tomorrow, all right?" Or if your child speaks disrespectfully during a disagreement, reply calmly but firmly, "I'm always open to hearing your thoughts, but I expect us to speak to each other with respect." Being firm doesn't make you cold. It teaches your children where the line is, and those lines protect the love you share. You can love your children unconditionally, but you are not required to endure everything unconditionally. Love them wisely, with heart, and with dignity. There's one lesson every parent eventually needs to learn: knowing when to take a step back. We were once the center of their world, making decisions, protecting every step they took. But children grow up. They create their own lives, their own paths. And if you try to insert yourself into every corner of their world, even with the best intentions, you may find that it pushes them away rather than brings them closer. Your children have their own lives, and we must learn to stand behind them, just close enough to be there when they need us. Don't call every day just to ask, "Where are you? What are you doing? Did you eat yet?" Don't dig too deeply into their marriage, their parenting, their choices. Don't try to fix everything you disagree with. Give them space to grow, to decide, even to make mistakes. When we stay nearby without intruding, present without controlling, our calm presence earns more respect than any lecture ever could. Respect doesn't grow from control. It grows from the feeling of being safe, safe to be themselves, even in front of their parents. When you take one step back, you may be surprised how your child steps forward. You are still there, and your gentle smile, your soft touch, your thoughtful words that don't pressure but still say, "I'm here." It's time to ask ourselves, what am I living for? Who am I living for? Many older adults spend their days waiting for a call from their children, waiting for the grandkids to visit, or quietly cooking and cleaning, hoping someone notices them. But here's the truth. If we live only to wait, we slowly disappear from the eyes of those we love the most. We're not meant to live as support staff for our families. We're meant to live as individuals with value, opinions, joy, and purpose. You can join a local book club, learn how to use a smartphone, start a gentle exercise class, travel with friends, or simply spend time cooking, gardening, or learning something new. When you take initiative in your own life, you shine in your own way, and your children will notice. When parents find their own joy, their children begin to see them with true respect. Life don't just exist. An older adult who enjoys life gives their children peace of mind, admiration, not guilt or worry. Don't wait for your kids to invite you somewhere. Be the one who invites. Don't wait for your grandkids to call. Find joy in your everyday moments. You deserve a fulfilling life, and that is the most beautiful way to earn your children's lasting respect. There comes a time in life when we finally realize respect is not something you can demand. It doesn't come from endless sacrifice or quiet endurance. It comes from how we live, how we quietly carry ourselves with strength and grace. When you stop living just to please your children, when you let go of depending on their attention to feel happy, when you set healthy boundaries while still offering love, that's when something powerful happens. Your children start to see you with new eyes. You don't need to be strict to earn respect. You just need to live in a way that makes them admire you. And if you're still here, listening to these words until the end, I believe you're someone who deeply cares about your life and well-being. Someone who's ready to live these later years with purpose, not just time. If what I've shared today resonates with you, please leave a comment below to let me know you're still with me. I'll continue to create more videos just for you, so we can grow older with joy, confidence, and deeper connection. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss upcoming videos. And share it with someone who may need this message too. Thank you for spending your time here. May your later years be filled with peace, happiness, and the respect you truly deserve.